So last year I was completely in love. She was everything to me. But without even realizing it, I stopped being me. What seemed like love at first ended up being a trap I alone created. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Andy and I make videos about self-improvement and mental health. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the great danger of making your partner the center of your world, which is a mistake unfortunately a lot of guys, myself included, make. Now, apologize if my voice sounds off. I've been sick for a couple of days now, and well, I don't feel like 100%, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest and speak about this from experience. It's actually the first time I'll openly talk about my past relationship. And a lot of time has passed since then. I don't no longer feel any sadness or pain whenever the topic comes up in my mind. So I thought it was good. I thought, what, it's a good idea if I make a video about this now that I can speak on it with full clarity and hoping to give you guys a lesson in the process. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I post weekly videos about similar topics. So yeah, let's get on with the video. Now, before I get started, I just want to make clear that the point of this video is not to bash on my ex or women in general. This is a problem that men create by themselves. I made these mistakes, and now I can freely talk about it in the hopes that you can avoid it in the future if you ever come across a situation that you get anywhere near making this kind of mistake. I don't want that to happen to you. Anyway, so just to give you some context, this last relationship of mine only lasted for about a year and 4 months or so. So it wasn't really a very long relationship. Now, for the first, I'd say 8 or 9 months of the relationship, everything seemed okay. She was very affectionate. She was giving me lots of attention, which, looking back at it, it's ironic because at that period of the relationship, that first phase of the relationship, I wasn't that into her. I mean, of course, she was my girlfriend and I loved her, but I wasn't like fully invested in the relationship. And this is a very strange thing about dating women that, the more, or I guess I should say, the less attention and love you seem to give them, the more they seem to be into you. But the more love and attention you give them, then the less they seem to care. Which brings me to the next period of the relationship. So after several months of dating, I was very much in love with her. And the problem was she slowly started detaching herself from the relationship. Like she was no longer, giving me that much attention. She was no longer that affectionate. She was not motivated to do anything. And I noticed those kind of changes, but in my mind, I was like, because I was so in love with her, I kept trying to convince myself, oh, you know what, this is normal. This is nothing to be, worried about. Maybe other couples go through the same things. So maybe I just need to chill. But it was very clear, anything that had to do with us seemed like a drag to her. Like I said, she was no longer affectionate. She never really wanted to do anything. So you know what, just to make it short, she just didn't seem to be, or she just didn't seem to care about the relationship any longer. And this is where the actual problem began. I was so in love with her that she became the center of my life, basically. How happy and content I was dependent on how much attention she was giving me, So just in case you haven't lived this yourself before, this is actually really fucking miserable to have someone else, to essentially have someone else, determine how good or bad your day is going. It's just draining. If she did something for me, I was basically the happiest guy in the world. But if she barely talked to me, which was, basically most days at that point, then I was miserable. I was feeling like shit. And because of all of those things, my attitude back then was also quite bad. I was being very reactive to things. I was not relaxed. I was never chill. I was nervous, anxious. I was just not being myself. Now, by saying that it ruined my life, it maybe seems like I'm exaggerating, but it did move on to other aspects of my life. I lost motivation to do a lot of things. This bad energy I was getting from my relationship carried on to other aspects of my life and made them worse. And I'd say that's the actual worst part about all of this. I lost motivation to train, to take care of my diet, to develop my professional career. Even this, I lost motivation to pursue content creation. My only goal back then seemed to be to make her happy. And just by saying that now, I almost feel cringe. But I never thought before I got into a relationship, I never thought I would fall so low. But there I was, being miserable, putting a girl on a pedestal, making her the center of my world. A mistake I should have never done. One of the worst aspects of it was that I barely realized just how far gone I was. In my head back then, she could do no wrong. Everything seemed to be my fault. I was unsure about everything. I was feeling insecure. Just bad period of my life, which was basically last year, so it wasn't that long ago. So the main point of all of this, and also one of the worst mistakes you can make as a man in your life, is making your partner your top priority in life. So in case you haven't had a girlfriend before, you're probably listening to this and thinking, oh man, I would never let that happen to me. And I used to think that too. I used to watch videos back then of guys telling me, don't let your girlfriend or wife or whatever be your top priority in life. Don't let them be the center of your entire world. And back then I was like, yeah, I would never let that happen to me. But the problem is, we never mean for it to happen as men. It just happens so naturally for us because of our protective nature, because we want to see our loved ones happy. But also, this hurts to say, it also happens because of dating scarcity. Reality is, most men don't have a lot of options, and it's funny. I actually made a video about this last year. I was telling you guys to raise your dating standards. Don't settle for the first girl that comes across you. But it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to follow that advice when you're in real scarcity. You don't have a lot of options. But as I said back then in that video, and I still stand by it, don't let the scarcity make you desperate. The problem is you don't even realize it. You don't even know when you're being desperate because of scarcity. So if you've been lonely for most of your life, as I have been, then this can easily happen to you. The moment you get a girlfriend, the moment you get married, you get a wife, then all of a sudden they become the center of your world. If they're happy, you're happy. But the problem is, you're putting yourself behind. You are no longer a priority in your own life. So at all costs, you should avoid this mistake. I'm not saying don't get into relationships. I'm just saying be careful. Be mindful of the direction your relationship is taking. She is not the most important thing in your life. You are. Your purpose as a man is, when you put your entire value on someone else, you stand to lose yourself. You stand to lose everything. So don't let that happen to you. Remember, you are the prize. Never stop working for yourself, for making you happy. But also, you need to keep things in balance. You should also strive to make others happy, your loved ones happy. So if you do have a girlfriend, make her happy. Just don't let that become the most important thing to you. Make your family happy, make your friends happy, but most importantly, make yourself happy. Keep everything in balance. Anyway, that is all for today. So, drop a like if you found the video useful, and let me know what you think in the comments. So, I'll probably just go back to bed. I'm not feeling very good right now. My voice is probably, giving away the fact that I'm sick, just in case I haven't said it already. Man, my memory's kind of fuzzy. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Until the next one.